encouragement to everybody that desire and his passion to give back and serve the people around him is unmatched. And it's no surprise that he's the #1 rep in the entire country, just because of that attitude that he has. So some cool facts about Rob. He has 400 plus business gift clients. He maintains a reorder rate of 72% for his clients. He's got 50 plus business industries in his client list. He's a father of 4 amazing children. He only works 1 evening a week, 8 weekends a year, and only 3 Sundays a year. Yeah, isn't that wild? Just some stats on Rob. He sent me a few things. So his best order, by the way, his best order is $149,000. Yes, that's an order, not a year. That's an order. So 149 grand. Rob's best day is $250,000, and his best week is $353,000. Like, these are just silly. These are silly numbers, guys. These are silly numbers. He's the first rep in the company history with over 3 years in a row with overall #1 sales. The first rep in the history with overall #1 every single year. Last year, guys, he sold $1.52 million in total sales, and over $1 million of that was business gifts. Isn't that insane? As I said, guys, our focus this year is we don't want to get left in the dust. We want to focus on business gifts and growing our events with these clients, with these orders, and really making this a laser focus for us. I can't think of anybody better to bring in the new year for us and to help us launch this focus than with the GOAT of business gifts, the Rob Robincheck. Dude, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time, your energy, your willingness to serve the community. I'll let you take it away, my friend.
Great. Thank you for wanting me to be on and be here with such an amazing events team. So honored to be able to give back and help you guys. And never forget that. Wherever level you are at the business, someone helped you get to that next level and help you continue to get better. So I will never forget that, and love it. So thanks, Matt, for giving me 5 hours to talk about business gifting. So that'll be great. So just playing. Actually, I don't have a lot of time to deep dive, specific items, but I will deep dive one area for you guys. But I do want to kind of give you some recipes for success. Make sure you guys are dialing into that, because this program can be as easy or as hard as you make it. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. Is sometimes you think about business gifting and you don't feel like you know it all or know how to, talk to a business owner, or you're not comfortable. Yes, this program can be, your confidence could be low. You may not want to talk about it because you may feel like, hey, I could screw this up, or miss out on this opportunity. But again, keep this in mind, is there's really like 6 main things to have massive success in this program. And then I will give you some things that you guys can have some really great conversations that you can have with, at the booth when you run into and talk to a business owner. Things to keep in mind there for your follow-ups. So whether you have a follow-up meeting face-to-face, Zoom, whatever it may be, or if you're calling business owners and you're doing a follow-up, and whether it's a lead, whether it's a follow-up from a show, you can have these type of conversations. So I want to dive into those. So let me dive into the 6 main areas for a recipe for success. And no matter what level you guys are at, a lot of these, pretty much everything will apply. And then, you guys can start to, take this deeper for your own business. So number 1, again, something we talk about, you guys should be very familiar with it, but it's got to be on the list. I won't spend a lot of time talking about it. But first and foremost, you need to recognize, and again, asking everyone and anyone about business giftings. You need to make it, again, a common thing, whether you at the booth, you paste it somewhere, you have it notes, you have reminders, because there's so many opportunities. And even me working when I was at the State Fair of Texas, working with people and working with my own show team, and we talk about all the time, and they may forget after they close the residential order to bring it up or talk about it, right? It's got to be, every single person needs to know about this program. and you will start to see leads come from everywhere. And I'm going to talk about all the ways we can build, which is number two, the pipeline. But again, 3 or 4 main things that you should recognize every single time. The easiest ones without even asking if they own, run a business, things like that. You're getting their credit card. It has a business name on there. Oh my gosh, game on that one. If they're wearing a shirt, a hat, a polo, something, again, logoed. Again, the first thing I'm doing is I'm recognizing them like, oh, you own that business. Always assume it's the owner. Whether it's not, then you can, the employee feels great that you felt that they own that business. But if you say, if you don't say it that way, then the owner could be offended. And then emails, right? So you get these emails. Typically, they have the business name in the email. So those are just real low level things. But again, we need to start constantly weaving this into our conversation and always talking about it. And because the number two is there's probably 2 critical things if you ever want this program to grow and be big for you and help scale it like I have. And again, my first leads in 2018 when I came back full time were from an event. And it literally started from getting a couple leads at an event, just being aware and talking about it. And then it just literally snowballed where I'll never follow up with all the leads I have now. And now I have to prioritize and categorize them by priority and which ones I should be following up and focusing on some bigger opportunities for myself. So number 2, filling and building that pipeline. So again, it can be done 100 different ways. And I literally say leads are everywhere. And when you become hypersensitive to it, you will recognize it. And let me give you a few things that some you may be doing, some you may not have thought of, and some maybe like, wow, I should start doing that again, right? So again, obviously leads at a show. That's and it could be any show. Literally, my 2 leads were from a residential show, home and garden show. It could be any fair, festival. There's the industry event program, which again, I did my first industry event last year. Other than the one that I really don't count when me and John Rulin did one back in the early 2000s because we had no clue what we were doing, how to do it. When someone says they lost money at a show, I like, yeah, but did you lose $10,000 and get no sales and no leads? Yeah, that's what me and John Rulin did for 2 shows in New York and Chicago. And we had no clue about what we were doing at gifting, but we're like, let's try it, right? So there's 20,000 in a hole when you're a college student, not fun. But regardless, the leads of the show, it could be residential. Obviously, if you're part of the industry events program, it was just crazy that every single person you're talking to is a lead. But networking events, don't dismiss those. I love personally chamber events. And the reason I love those, $150 membership, they send me a list of all the members. I have a tiny chamber that I work with in my community, and it literally had 600 businesses. That's 600 leads right there, potential leads, because I have a connection. I never cold call, but I always have a connection or an introduction into leads, right? People you do business with. Again, some of the things, I didn't even think about, like my CPA. For 10 years, I never asked him for, if he's doing stuff for his top clients and customers because he had a small staff. And finally, last year, I asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, 22-piece sets. Not a huge order, but like it was just paid for all my CPA services for the year. But the guy that did my landscaping, I asked him, and neither one of these people had ever done gifting, but you pitch it, you talk about it, and you're like, you present it, and they're like, wow, that's the greatest thing ever. I should be doing that. Some landscapers do big projects. The guy who did my new kitchen counter, there's a lead. I bought my massage chair. I traded Cutco for the massage chair, right? An Ultimate for a massage chair, which is pretty good deal on my side. And now he gives, with every massage chair, he gives a Cutco piece. So all the people that you're doing business with, your dentists, your doctors, all those people, those are, again, leads that you may not have asked or get. Next level, let's talk about next level leads, right? People at the booth that work somewhere. So everyone that you're selling to, 99% of them should have a job. Okay. Now, how many times do you ask those people, once they say, no, I don't own or run a business, we usually stop, right? And I used to do that several years ago, just stop. I'm like, okay, ask a few more questions. Okay, well, where do you work at? Great. Hey, just a quick question. Does your company ever do gifting for you throughout the year, the end of the year, at any point? Do they recognize you guys and love on you? Oh, they do? Great. What did they do last year? Okay. And if you guys find out they gift, they do at least $50+ 100 or more is kind of more ideal. Then that's a great potential lead because okay, you don't have to sell them on the idea of gifting. Then the next step is don't stop there. Ask two more questions. Oh, do you know who the owner is or who I should be talking to about gifting? Okay, great. So the owner who you should be talking about gifting. And then after you do that, the next question is, would you mind or could you connect me with that person? Do you mind or could you connect me to that person? And then I usually get a three-way text or three-way email, however they connect me. And then that is a golden lead or golden opportunity, right? Pretty sweet. So that's kind of next level. List of customers that you're either shipping or giving the gifts to, right? List of customers that you're shipping or giving the gifts to. So what I mean by that is if you're still a business customer and they get a whole bunch of customers themselves, they can actually give those leads, or you can actually follow up with those leads because you know that they received Cutco, right? And you can come in as a kind of a service element. Hey, I just wanted, I know so-and-so, I work with so-and-so, they gave you, whatever, the gift was. I just want to let you know that they're guaranteed forever. I can service and take care of it. And if you know they're a business customer, these are business customers I'm usually following up and talking to. I'm not calling residential ones. So I'm identifying that. And so once I understand that they are a business customer, again, I can just simply ask, hey, I'd love to be a resource. If it's something that you're ever open to, or want to ever have a conversation of what whoever gave them the gift, what I've done for them and how I've helped them, I'd be totally open to helping you and talk about how we do that for appreciation, for marketing, for advertising, just a way to help grow and support your business. Great. Then next level is you may have not done this before. And again, it's not for everyone. But again, if you try to get in a specific account or an opportunity or a lead, and your contact allows you to do next level concierge service where you literally get to deliver the gift, that is pretty amazing. And I've done that probably for about 20 to 30 different customers, just ones that are the biggest, the best, the ones that maybe I've been trying to get into for 3 years. And it's another opportunity where I actually get to hand deliver that gift that their friend or associate or, their supplier, vendor, contractor that wanted me to deliver it. And it's just so cool to be able to be Santa Claus and hand that gift to them and then open it up. And there's a whole approach and system I do there too. But that's, again, next level. And again, keep in mind the power of creating flyers and things that the customers can put into the boxes, or branding tools, or Cutco can do that for you, that have your information on the bottom. So now when you get hundreds of gifts out there and they have your information on a flyer that talks about the product and the company's logo and kind of a nice value added piece that isn't inserted into the gift, again, I get calls where it's like, oh my gosh, how can I do this for my business, right? And it starts to build that way too. So and I would just say an existing customer base, again, don't discount that, sending them a text and email. You guys have hundreds, sometimes thousands of customers that you may not even know own a business. And then the number one lead, the way you get leads and the way you should get really good at getting leads, go back to old school getting leads. How did we do it? Some of the veteran people have been around for a long time, family and friends, we got leads from them. The greatest, best lead and how I built this and scaled this thing so quickly is from my current clients that would give me 3 to 5 business leads. I would ask 3 times throughout the year. When I sold the deal, when I followed up after they got the order, and always my January check-in call to make sure the orders went, that people love the gifts, it went well, get all the positive feedback, get testimonials. I'm getting leads 3 to 5 every single time. That's building and building and building, right? Pretty sweet. And again, why are those the greatest? You could probably, know 50 reasons yourself, but the bandwagon effect, you get to talk about the projects and everything you did for those customers. So number 3, let's dive into that. So now, again, the reason I mentioned and spent more time on this one is if you don't have a pipeline, you don't have a lot of opportunities, you don't have a lot of people to call, what happens is you're spending, the next thing I want to talk about, you're spending a lot of time on the same opportunities, thinking it's, going to go somewhere. And sometimes you just need to cut bait and move on to the next thing. But if you don't have a lot, sometimes you spend a lot on things that you shouldn't. Number 3, commitment and consistency. Everything I'm going to talk about today or go over, if you guys are not committed to the program, if you guys don't carve out time from something else, again, when I started out coming back to the business full time, I was, I was giving up a 6-figure job. So I had a lot of things to also be scared of not spending a ton of time on a program that wasn't proven. And I didn't have tremendous success at that point. only one person in the company really had tremendous success in business gifting, right? It was John. And so I'm like, so I knew that I had to carve out some time and take away from some low hanging fruit and some sales and comfort, being comfortable and getting used to being uncomfortable. But it was probably 20% of my sales in that first year. And I won't talk about the progression that got me up to over $1 million last year on 239 orders. But year one was like 36 orders, 69K. So it wasn't anything crazy, but I'll talk about again how that thing, built. Again, after you get that 100K year, and it wasn't just one big order, it gets exciting. Commitment and consistency. I always say minimum 8 hours a week, but you need to put some time in. And the biggest way to do it too is every week doing it, because everything builds on from one week to the next week to the next week to the next week. And from meetings to follow-ups to calls to emails to texts, all those things flow. Your conversation, like you guys know, if you do an event and there's 2-3 months gap of your next event, you're a little rusty. You're like, oh, got to figure out how to say these things again. And you get a couple no sales, you're like, oh, do I know how to sell? And you already have millions of sales, Hall of Famers, all this craziness, and you still doubt, right? And this is what you already know. Same thing in business gifting, that consistency matters. One really quick story is, and I think Matt said this, a couple of you guys were at the industry event. If you were, awesome. You guys, are already on your way to showing commitment and consistency by being there and spending the investment and doing that, right? But I had a customer of mine, he did a bill of sale over a few years. And, again, you can dive so deep on opportunities outside of just customers and employees for gifting. And he does a dealer event. We started talking over the phone. I was like, trying to sell it right over the phone. And then I realized that, there's some things missing and I needed to do a follow-up, right? And his dad, who owns the business, needed to be involved too. I set up for Tuesday, so which was yesterday, right? And it looked like an 8K opportunity. And when I was there, being able to pitch him, talk about it, go in depth, but it was just a few days later that he had a chance to kind of put some of the ideas we talked about, some of the things I sent him, put into theory. What was nice is I found out it's their anniversary this year on top of the dealer events, their 35th year anniversary. And I got more fired up than they did about it. So he went from needing 100 gifts just under $100, and then his top dealers needing 20 to 30 of those of like $200 to $300, to now getting 101 shears and 30 two-piece sets. It was an $18,000 to $20,000 order. Again, because that follow-up and the consistency and just the even flow. Number 4, get great at selling at the booth, right? We all want that instant gratification, doing really well. And there's a lot of cool scripts and closings and things like that we can share with you, but get good at that. And get good at the pilot program. If you haven't heard about the pilot program, give you some verbiage, get that to Matt as well. Don't have time to dive into it deep, but getting something on the books, because what I found is follow-up's great. And, and we need to, and that's the next point. But if we can get something on the books, get it rolling and get at least a pilot program, order 2, 3, year 2, 3, the orders start to double and triple and get really huge, right? But we got to get them sold on the idea. So you got to get good at that, and you guys will get better at that. Number 5, it's probably the second biggest one outside of filling and building the pipeline, is follow up, and create a systematic system, reminders, again, that you're staying consistent with that, and don't let other things take over that follow-up time that you need, because that's your golden ticket. There was at the industry event, for you guys were there, John Rowland's partner, Rod, talked about a golf event that he went to. And it was a banker that told him that, hey, I filled out my information, put it in the bucket, and that rep didn't even follow up with me. Like, why are you even doing the event, spending money on the event, if you're not going to follow up with these people that literally are waiting for you to follow up? Most of them, even if they're interested, are not going to call you. Believe it or not, it doesn't happen that way, but you do that, you follow up. That's the way, you can continue to grow and build this thing really big. And number 6, we talked about follow-up. Number 5, golden ticket. Number 6 is follow through. Follow through is like that fast pass to longevity, right? If you guys ever went to Cedar Point or amusement park or Disney or something, you can buy those fast pass and stuff, and you get on quicker than every single person, and you get to go on and on and on all the time. That's how I feel like with business gifting, because a 72% reorder rate, guys, I'm making it so much easier for myself every single year because these customers are everything I'm pitching and talking about. And I've already done the hard work. 90% of the hard work is done. 10% now is just mapping out strategies and plans in the future and what it looks like, and that you're the gifting consultant and you're going to continue to help them. And the other 10% typically is bigger than the 90% first sale. So just keep those things in mind. The other last things I'll do, and then I want to do a deep dive on some pain points, something I covered at the conference, but I think it's really warrants to talk about it a little bit more in depth here for you guys, because you guys are really wanting to have some great conversations with business owners, start to feel comfortable with them. But two or three other points to add into those things is number 2 for filling and building the pipeline. The way that you're going to fill it and build it outside of recognizing it is your 60-second pitch needs to be spot on. If I asked any of you guys in the room right now, I'm a business owner who came to the booth, what would you say to me? What would be your pitch? And if you can't just rattle it off like that and feel very confident about it, then you need to work on that, right? That needs to be 10. If it's not a 10, it's a 1. Because again, if you're not feeling really comfortable about that, and I have a pitch mine I can share, again, give you guys as much tools to be successful without, understanding your booth and your samples and all that. I won't go into depth about it, but it needs to look amazing, right? And it needs to be uniform in one nice section right in the front, smacks them in the face, because you want to smack them in the face several times until they finally get it, right? And again, you guys probably heard that before, but same idea when we were selling cookware and you weren't comfortable. If you had it on the back table and you had one piece, you don't sell cookware, right? and they don't think that it's a big deal. You got to make it a big deal because it is a big deal. And it's our biggest, best program in the company, but it's got to be the right one for you. I talked about commitment. 8 critical questions. You got to be very, very great with, now I call them quality. They're really critical that you identify, because why? You got to, in a very quick time frame at the booth or whenever you're talking to a business owner, is this first of all a great opportunity? Just because they own a business doesn't mean it's a great opportunity. And you, with those questions, you can identify that. How much time should you spend on this opportunity, right? So I had people then start to go the extreme of like, oh, I follow up with this client all the time, I work super hard. And I'm like, oh, how many employees do he have? Like, oh, he's got 2 employees. Well, how many customers do you have? Well, he never does gifting for customers because, it's just low-end projects. There's not a lot of profitability. So you're talking about, even if at best you're selling 2 ultimate sets, this guy you're chasing for months and all this time, probably not warrants the time. So again, understand that. But then when you get to that next meeting or follow-up or wherever it may be, those critical questions are going to put you through. And then one thing I sent to Alan that I think he's already shared with you guys, that is during any pitch, I have a pitch book that I have bring to the booth, just like you have your specials book. So I have not only a business pricing in there, but there's many documents I have in there, but 3 that I pretty much reference to some degree every single time I have an interaction with a business customer. And hopefully you guys saw those and you received those. But that's my gift to you guys, is the appreciation document, the going from good to best document, and the gifts that miss a mark. My favorite one's the gifts that miss a mark. It's a visual. I'm very visual. And it literally makes customers feel silly about things they've done and why they've done them, and not, to never do them again. But the biggest thing that when you guys talk about these things, if you always reference it as, this is what customers tell me of why their gifts have not been great or not landed, or this is what customers tell me of why our program has worked so well for them. Reference your customers, because they don't care what you have to say, but if it's a testimony or a story or something you're referencing your customers, it's gonna resonate with them much better, and it's gonna you're gonna get much better traction. So with the time I have left, what I'd like to do then is I'd like to go over the 5 top reasons why customers buy gifts. Okay, so top 5 reasons why customers buy gifts. And what this does is it helps you with any conversation, like I mentioned at the booth, helps you when you're, following up with them, meet them at any type of event, when you're doing your phone approach. You can incorporate these, and I incorporate some of these pain points in my conversations to get more appointments, right? Or to get an appointment at the booth. And something that even if they're not open to at the booth, you paint one of these pain points to them, and if they're like, wow, yeah, I have faced that. That has happened to me. Like, I should probably hear more. Tell me more, right? Help me walk through, because again, I always paint as a picture that I'm not looking to take money from the client. I'm looking to provide a consultative service that's helping their business. And when they see that, and that's why the customers love for me to come every year, because it's not just like, oh, Rob's here to collect another order. It's like, Rob's here to help my business. And he sees the value in my business and strategize how we can grow and build it. And we do it through an artifact and heirloom of Cutco, right? That relationship piece. Because again, everything we're talking about is, relationships take you where marketing can't. So relationships take you where marketing can't. And we do that through gifting. And that's a great point. You guys can share and talk to your clients about that. And the last thing I'll say before I dive in is that customers buy more often from eliminating pain than experiencing pleasure. So customers buy more often from eliminating pain than experiencing pleasure. And it's the same thing. You guys think about yourself. If you're sick, the last thing you want to do and you care about is getting better. So for a client, if they're having a ton of issues or frustration around gifting and appreciation and building strong relationships with their clients, this is a way to do it. Number one, again, it's inconvenient and frustrating. It's inconvenient and frustrating coming up with something different and unique every year. It's inconvenient and frustrating coming up with something different, unique every year. This is probably one of the top things I get. Why do you think most of the companies you might talk to, and you ask what gifting they do, and they say gift cards or bonuses? It's like those are obviously the two worst, but the two easiest for a business owner to do. And they check off a box. I did my gifting, great. Oh, well, I can't think about anything that they want. And I got different demographics, and it's like, yeah, of course you don't know your clients that well. Let me become that person to help you do a better program, right? And that's the biggest thing, is that customers might even be okay or satisfied with what they're doing. I usually tip the scale and say, could you be doing it better? For your business, what's one of the main reasons why you're so successful in business? Oh, because of service or exceptional products or this or that. You tie it right into Cutco. Whatever they say, 99% of the time, we provide the same thing with our products, our service. When I talk about excellence in gifting, there's three main things with excellence in gifting. It's the product. We all know that it's excellent. The presentation. So we put it in beautiful boxes, how we present it with, flyers and, any way to package really nice. And then delivery. When we deliver it, how we can deliver it, multi-ship, drop ship, however we want to package and help the customer, we can do all those things. Now, the solution that we provide is for Cutco for problem number one is Cutco is the only gift that checks off all the boxes that a client's looking for. It's high quality, it's practical, it's universal, it's long lasting, right? So the four main things that we're always hitting: quality, practical, universal, and long lasting. Well, having a gifting partner like myself help implement those gets one more thing off their plate. Why do you think you guys, probably saw some crazy numbers in July? I've been building that over years, but I do Christmas in July, and I would say about 95% of those customers don't need their gifts until Christmas time, for employees for sure, right? And so even though I was able to get that done, it's one less thing they have to worry about. And it's so cool when I call them in October about, making sure their gifts are coming now, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so great. Like I can focus on finish my year strong. I don't need to worry about this. Cool. Verbiage. And again, I'm going to go through this quick because I'm trying to get through as much as possible, but I'm going to send some key verbiage over to Matt and Alan. But let me just read it real quick and then catch what you can, some key points. But the verbiage I would say on problem number one when I'm talking to a client is, have you ever felt it's inconvenient and frustrating, time consuming, coming up with a different, unique idea every year? And then the follow-up to that would be, would it be beneficial if you didn't have to worry about it? Would it be beneficial if you didn't have to worry about it? And of course, those are yes and yes, right? And so then that right off the bat, I'm like, great. So if they say that, if they say no to any of these, I'm like really focusing on one main problem. I don't need to show all five that I'm going to share with you. I just need to make sure whatever one is the one that they feel the most pain at, that's the one I'm diving deep. That's what I'm talking about. So I'll list all these off. And then as I'm going through, out of these five problems, do any of these, you face anything? Does these ever come up in your world? Have you ever dealt with this? Oh, you have? Which one is like the top one? So I find the top one, and then this is where I'm going through the key verbiage and kind of diving deep, right? But I'm giving you guys the scope of it. Number two, buying gifts Buying gifts for number 2 tend to be last minute stressful. Buying gifts tend to be last minute stressful. Okay. The solution, we provide systems to track and map out your gifting strategies so you can start your process earlier. I just mentioned Christmas in July. Key verbiage here on number 2: has year-end gifting ever felt last minute or stressful? Has year-end gifting ever felt last minute or stressful? Right? And how many times they do it last minute, stressful again, and then I actually just now take the ones that I sold in the fall and now I move them to the summer, which is great. So then it opens up my fall again for new clients that like to do it last minute. And then I teach them the program, tell them about we can do it better next year as far as the gifting time frame and how we do this. And they're like, awesome. So that's why I can still November and December have my 2 and 3rd biggest months of the year outside of July. Because of that, I create the space for it. And then the other question is, would it be great doing things different this year? And they're thinking, yeah, if I can do things different. And guys, I just dropped off some gifts from my number 1 client that I sold to last year. That was a $149,000 deal. And they actually do anniversary gifts. And they have over 2,000 employees. So anniversary gifts actually start to add up. For our 10th year anniversary, they give a set. They actually don't give a set of knives of Cutco yet. They give a set of knives of a competitor of mine that's local in that area. And they've been doing that for years. And I just got her open up to the idea to do that. But I presented a different idea that she was like astounded by, like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that way, but thank you for sharing that. And she's like, yeah, I'm open to change if you guys can do this, this, and this. And I'm like, yes, we can. So I'd love to sit down. But she was giving the gift at the end of the year when they hit the anniversary. They could hit their anniversary on March or April or May. She was giving that gift at the end of the year with all the other gifts that they give their employees. And I said, well, most companies, and what I found works better, is they give the gift on their anniversary. It doesn't get caught in the noise and all the other gifting, and it makes it more special, and you can spend more time recognizing that person instead of all the people at once, right? She's like, I never thought of that. I'm like, great, let's explore that. Let's talk about it. So one idea, one concept, one value add to that client then could be, now a huge, at least a galley, a homemaker set every 10th year anniversary. Say they have 100, employees that hit that 10th year every single year because of the last 10 years. They literally went from 200 employees to 2,000 in 10 years. So there's a lot of ones that are hitting their 5 and 10 years coming up. So number 3, losing this one actually helps their bottom line and think about revenue and think about their business as far as like how they value their business. But losing key clients and employees is frustrating and expensive. Losing key clients and employees is frustrating and expensive. Think about that. Their number 1 asset is their employees and customers. And without those, there's no business. So I paint that picture of the solution we provide with Cutco, right, is appreciating your MVP relationships, even your top to 10 to 20% that are like the biggest needle movers in your business, or your employees or partners or investors. We do that, though, as a solution with Cutco through practical luxuries that give you a competitive edge. And then I always, it's for a solution, as we try to paint the picture, it's cheaper to appreciate your MVPs than to replace them. And again, if you guys understand the concept of onboarding and how much it costs to onboard new employees, it could be $100,000 to onboard a new employee. Why would you want to lose that employee and then go through that whole process and retrain and the whole cost? It doesn't make sense. And I've now been incorporating onboarding gifts. So when you get onboarded, you get this, and this, and you might get some company swag nobody cares about. But if you get like a Cutco gift to onboard, wow, you're feeling the love from day one. And in 26 years, I've never had a assistant. Just got one assistant this year. Now, again, she has tons of Cutco, but it was great. Not only still got to incorporate a Cutco piece, but a gift that I just saw her last weekend. Again, through the moon with appreciation. That's kind of like onboarding with her. Key verbiage: would your business be different if you lost your top 5 to 10 clients? That question, when I ask someone that, would your business be different if you lost your top 5 to 10 clients, and how much would it cost you to replace one of those clients? Someone like the business owners, I can see, because they're visionary, like the wheels turning and be like, whoa, like they take it for granted. And sometimes you just keep business as usual and not even think about some of those things, but take a step back. Like when we evaluate last year, and you guys should always do that, right, is obviously plan for this year and do earlier and better, but you always have to take a step back after an event and kind of think about it and what can I have done better and evaluate after the event. Same thing with business owners. Help them evaluate what their business could look like in the future if there's a huge change to it. And this would be it. What type of impact would it have on your business? Again, if you lost those clients. And so we talk about, okay, maybe you don't gift to your thousands of clients. Maybe we pick out a certain amount, but we can create and scale a smaller gift to everyone. And problem number 4, other gifts fall short. Number 4, other gifts fall short. And what I mean by that, they're here today, gone tomorrow, right? You miss out on the opportunity for the entire family gifting, right? So that's a big element that we help with, is that our gifts really spread as multidimensional. And that's, again, you guys will see that's number 5. But again, low to no ROI, so return on investment. But I always say, again, some concept I learned from John is ROR, return on relationships. And gifts are great, but relationships are more important. So gifts are great, but relationships are more important. And that's the value and the power of Cutco, that those gifts, those items will stay with their client, and they'll be, having lunch with them every day, dinner with them every day, every week. And the number of impressions, the times they could be thinking of you is through the roof, right? Again, how that plays out, which is pretty cool. So, and that was one of the greatest concepts. When you guys get this business, you're 2, 3 years, 4 years in, then you can start thinking about what John shared with me is like, and this is 3, 4 years ago, he's like at 10 million in career sales, and 5 million of it, he told me, was from 50 clients. Lifetime value, 100K per client. That's where I want to be, right? And loving on those clients and just knowing every year we just build and build and build and build. So much fun. And the last concept with that one is people have too much stuff. Again, I think our family probably donates to Goodwills and thrift stores more than anyone. We just have too much stuff, right? And you have kids, and you collect it over time. You get rid of that. But the Cutco is not stuff. Never call it stuff. Never think of it as stuff. And again, it's heirloom artifact pieces that people treasure and have in their family for years and years and years. Key verbiage on this. And again, the solution, just so you guys know on this, is it's the lowest and smartest cost touch of all marketing. Lowest and smartest touch of all marketing. So I tell that to a client because I usually ask them throughout the conversation is, what do you spend for your marketing advertising? And sometimes you guys will be blown away that they'll say 50,000, 100,000, some bigger companies, a lot more than that. And if you can get a little slice of that pie of like talking about, this advertising is the most effective and top of mind and word of mouth and all that, and let them know that the product that they're engraving or putting their logo on is a permanent business card, right? It's a permanent business card for marketing and advertising, right? We know all general business cards get thrown away. That's why I put magnets on my cards when I first started 20 some years ago. And again, it's just next level marketing. Appreciating, loving their employees. The biggest reason employees leave is not because they didn't get paid enough, is because of appreciation. That's usually the biggest top reason of, when they do a survey of why employees leave, because they didn't feel appreciated. And a person that feels appreciated will always do more than expected, right? So Cutco increases client retention as well with the high quality, practical, long lasting gifts. So you're keeping clients longer, you're keeping employees longer. And again, I always try to make a joke, they don't just stay with Cutco because you buy them, gifts of Cutco. Like, it's like, oh, I got Cutco this year, I'm not leaving. Great. It's like, no, they just feel, and their family feels, and everybody feels the highest form of appreciation. But it is a good feeling when you have some of your clients that are doing a build-a-set and adding pieces every year, and at their banquet, which has been shared with me multiple times, that they tell the employees, hey, you guys are going to be getting Cutco every year, so if you don't like it, you may not want to work here. And they're like, no, like, great, I want to stay here. This is awesome. Bring on the Cutco, right? So it's pretty cool. And the last one, number 5, is, again, most gifts are not multidimensional. So most gifts serve a purpose just for the recipient or the employee of that gift. But if you can actually, like a solution, you can take care of the entire family. And I always heard a saying a long time ago is, if you take care of the family, everything else takes care of itself. And so what's nice is, again, everybody is supporting and excited and part of this whole experience. It makes a huge difference, guys. And then the key verbiage on here, if you're going to spend money anyway, right? So if you're going to spend money anyway, would you be interested in seeing an option that can give you 5 times the impact, 5 times the return on your investment? And clients are like, yeah. And I don't guarantee anything, and it's not a perfect science, right? But again, it really does work. And I've had tons of testimonials that I can share, that I've shared with people. I shared at the conference, all that are real testimonials from what it looks like. And I literally, from that massage chair company, I stopped in there yesterday. They gave out the gifts, and she's like, yeah, I haven't got a lot of calls from people, but I did get one. And I got it from a guy that's been a pain in my ass, always, needy and constantly calling and issues and stuff. And this guy called and said, no company of any product I've ever bought has ever given me a gift, and certainly not of this stature. And he's like, I love this. I'm going to talk about it to all my family and friends and make sure they buy more chairs from you. And she'll find that probably that client is now, not giving her as big of a hard time or more understanding or lenient and all that. But it was kind of a cool testimonial I just heard yesterday. So awesome, right? And so the key, I told you the key verbiage there. The last thing on this that I'll say is most business owners tend to buy only for their employees, but they miss out on the impact that gift can have for the whole family. And then the last point is the reason customers buy again. So I talked about the 72% reorder rate. The reason customers buy again is because of you. The reason customers buy the first time just because it's a great product, service, we pitched it, we did a good pitch, right? Or, we were able to do a great bandwagon effect or explain the program, whatever it is. But the reason they buy again is because of you. And what I mean by that is you're the X factor to get repeat customers for life. So how are you on follow through on all your promises that you told the client, right? How are you on showing up for your customers multiple times per year? Not just the once a year, hey, I'm calling it, and I call it an ABR, annual business review. I'm calling to schedule that meeting and that review and all that. It's like, no, it's multiple touch points. How good are you on prepping them for future gifting and setting the stage for that? And how good are you on building meaningful relationships? And it doesn't have to necessarily be through gifting. It could be through touch points of not just text and email, but, pick up the phone once in a while, stop in the office once in a while if they're local or whatever, do things that help. Providing, again, guys, a better, efficient and different experience than what they're used to is going to make a huge difference. Think about for 1 second, if you're a business owner, how many calls, how many industries, how many sales reps are calling you on a daily, weekly basis that are bozos, that don't know what they're doing. They're promising the world. It's a hit and run industry. If we just do a little bit better, then we're going to have great success. If we do a lot better, which I feel I try to pride myself on, then you're going to have massive success. So again, follow through on those promises, show up for your customers multiple times, and they will recognize. And then again, the greatest compliment is when, and you guys might have all heard this in the room, and if you hear it more often, you're doing the right things, is I wish my salespeople were like you. So not only has it helped me get deals that might have taken months, sometimes years of seeing that person, that company at the event every year, and I, just slowly talk about it. And then finally they're like, wow, this person's amazing with follow-up, recognizing my name, doing the little things. I would love my sales rep to be there, and you create that trusted partnership and that relationship, and they're going to be clients for life. So that's my message. That's what I had for you guys. Hopefully some good insight, and you guys can continue to scale and build your business program. And again, not leave anything on the table and help grow and build this thing. And again, the book as well. If you don't have a book, you haven't read it, and I'm not a huge reader, guys, but it's easy read. I have it. This is the booth all the time with me. I give it to a lot of my business clients. I give it on new prospect meetings. I use this as a tool. And one of the coolest things John Rowland said to us at the event is, again, he doesn't make money off the book. Just it reinvest it back into the program. But it's the gift that is the greatest gift that he gave to our community, to the sales rep, as far as a selling tool. So it doesn't ever take away from you. It always helps you with the selling process. So that's my message, Matt and Alan. Hopefully that's what you guys were hoping for there.
Let's give Rob a big round of applause. Dude, that was incredible. Awesome content, man. Can I ask you one question before you jump off?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you mentioned something about a 60-second business gift pitch. Would you mind sharing, if you're at a fair or a show or a booth, what your 60-second pitch is?
Sure, absolutely. So let's record and get this one on here. So again, There could be different elements, but there's, 3 or 4 main elements. You guys will see that I'll cover on it. But once you find out they own a business, right? So again, obviously, own a business. You're talking to the decision maker, someone that again makes sense to pitch it to, and you find out what industry they're in. So those are the 3 things. They don't run a business. They're the decision maker involved in the decision process, right? They don't have to be the main one, but someone that's involved in the process. And you find out what industry they're in. You basically say, something to the effect of, and it changes, a little each time, but not sure if you knew, but we actually have a gifting appreciation program, and we've been doing this for over the last 20 years. The great thing is, let's say I'm talking to you, Matt. The great thing, Matt, is we actually work with hundreds of companies of all kinds of sizes in all kinds of different industries, including your same type of industry. What we do is we really help with gifting relationship solutions. Okay. Your first thought might be is, hey, how does high-end handmade kitchen cutlery work in your industry, right? And I know you're an excavating guy, so you're like, how does that work? Well, the great thing is all your employees, all your customers, they eat. So it's universal, which means they cook and they use these type of tools in the kitchen. So what we do, Matt, is we actually customize and build programs that help your employees, your partners, your suppliers, your vendors feel special. And again, what we do that we just do this through artifacts or practical, best in class items that are used all the time. And what they do is they sit on your employees or your customers' countertops for years, which again keeps that top of mind awareness and keeps you thinking of them thinking of you forever. So, and again, the last thing is the companies really have told me, Matt, that it's more effective to use our gifting solutions and our product than what they usually give. The trinkets, the mugs, the calendars, the hats, the bonuses, the gift cards, jackets, things like that, because basically all your competitors already do those things, right? And they give them to your employees and customers, so it's overused. And what happens is those gifts are either used once, never used, regifted. And again, those are the last things that you want, your gift to someone to do. So would you be open to exploring further about what our program's all about? Great. There you go.
Wow. Dude, that was absolute fire. Thank you. Awesome. One
Yeah,
more round of
welcome.
applause for Rob here. Dude,
Thank you
you
guys.
so much for the time. Thank you for the energy. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Well, that was unbelievable stuff, and we're excited to go out and crush it with business gifts this year. So
That's my greatest. That fires me up more when someone has bigger success, because again, like John handed the torch to me. I want to continue to hand it to, anyone who's really passionate and excited about growing and building this thing. And again, see this thing, huge numbers, right? So thanks, Matt.
awesome. Thanks, Rob. Wow. Good stuff.
Yes.
That was unbelievable. We're gonna have to script out that 60-second pitch.
I think
sure.
Luke already has it actually.
Go. Let's go.